Welcome back to Chris's Trains and Things. Today I've got a special video. As you can see here, I have an airplane fuselage. So this is something that I had gotten during my trip out to Detroit in September. And while I was there, I met someone named David Lambert, and he has a company Printed at Scale. And this is one of the models that they have available for purchase. So what you see here is a full 1/48 scale Boeing 737 fuselage. It's sitting on two Atlas flat cars, or sitting on one Atlas flat car, and then we have another 89-foot flat car as well behind because of the overhang of the aft section of the fuselage. Let's talk about the prototype first, and then we'll dive into the model itself and talk about how you can acquire one of these beautiful models for your layout. So, as I mentioned, this is a Boeing 737 fuselage. Boeing is the oldest and largest aerospace companies in the United States, and today they're typically known just for their passenger planes. But Boeing is located in Washington State, just outside of Seattle, and during the war, they struggled to keep up, or just after the war. Just after the war in the 60s, they were struggling in their Washington plant to keep up with demand because of fierce competition from the Douglas DC-8. So they came up with a new solution and decided to move their production to Wichita, Kansas, which, if you know anything about geography, is not anywhere close to Seattle and Tacoma, Washington. Here at the Wichita plant, they would build partial planes. The Kansas plant gave Boeing more room to build the 707, and they didn't have a skilled labor shortage in Kansas, just like they did in Washington. The problem was that shipping these partial fuselages 1,800 miles for final assembly in Washington could be a bit of a trick. So that's when they decided they would do it by rail. Shipping by rail was reliable and cost effective, and the method is still used today for Boeing, and they ship everything from the 707 through the 777, all via rail. In 2005, Boeing ended up selling that plant in Kansas to Spirit AeroSystems, and Spirit AeroSystems actually continues to build those fuselages. By February of 2018, Boeing had shipped 10,000 fuselages across the country. That year, Spirit AeroSystems was making about 52 fuselages a month. So you could imagine you could see quite a few trains traveling across from Kansas all the way up to Washington State with these large fuselages on board. The 1,800-mile trip is no simple task. You know, you're going across 6 states using 2 different railroads. The fuselages start there in Wichita by the plant. They're picked up by the BNSF, and they're taken west to Colorado, north to Wyoming. The shipment is moved across Montana by Montana Rail Link, and the fuselage is picked up again by BNSF in Washington, and they're dropped off in Renton for final assembly. So that's the prototype, and that's what we see here is obviously the model form. And so this is a 3D printed 737 fuselage. It technically is a 737-800, and it's true 1/48 scale proportions. These models are massive and demand very large curves. Now, my layout has a minimum curve of 0.72, but one of the things that you're going to see is with this large tail section of the fuselage is going to swing way out on our curves. So we have to make sure that even with 0.72 curves, this monster is still going to have a lot of overhang. So you have to make sure your layout is built for that. So we're going to take it nice and steady on the layout when we run this in a little bit, making sure that clearance is all okay. To make the kit, 2 different styles of additive manufacturing are used, FFF and SLA. These are 2 technologies that allow the kit to have really high detail, and they are stronger in specific areas. So the kit actually comes in different pieces, just like a normal fuselage, and you have to assemble that yourself, and then you can paint it and so on. The overall length of the fuselage itself is 31 inches. It's 3 inches wide and 3¼ inches tall. It's going to use the parts that you receive. You get 4 fuselage sections. You have the 2 wing detail parts. You've got the rear detail parts here. You've got a front cradle here, the rear cradle here, and then the icebreaker here in the front to protect the front of the fuselage. The total cost of this kit is $165 plus shipping, which really isn't too bad of a price for something that's quite as large and just so well detailed. Now, of course, you have to assemble it, paint it, and do all those pieces yourself. So there's some work on the back end to have this model be complete and looking like it does on my layout here. However, after seeing this in person, I think it's well worth the time and investment. Now, I am planning to build one of these and have a video of that as well. So stay tuned for that video so we can walk through the steps of getting this entire set assembled, and then we'll have that available on the channel for folks to reference. Now, the kit is just the model. You do not get the flat cars with it. So if you're interested in this, you're gonna have to track down some of these Atlas flat cars. There's a few available on eBay without any trucks on them for a good price. You just have to add the trucks yourself. Of course, you could also try to find them at a hobby shop or secondhand online also. So just to be clear, those are not included in the price for this model. So I have my box here from Dave Lambert from Printed at Scale of the 737 kit. So I wanted to open this up and show everybody what is exactly included when you purchase your kit, so you know what you're getting yourself into. Obviously, we've seen the final product. So as the directions stated, comes in 4 pieces, 3D printed. You can see how they are made there to kind of go together. So they'll fit together. Let's just pull all these pieces out. We'll set them aside here and get the box out of the way. So we've got our 4 main pieces of the fuselage, and then we've got the 4 other sections that are going to be part of the kit also that you'd put on the flat car. Some various cradle pieces there. Set that right there. Some detailing parts. Now, these are 3D printed. So what you have here is, as that printer prints those layers, and they might be hard to see on the camera, but it prints in just kind of layers, and you can see how it's got these stringers that kind of come up to provide support as that print is made. And these are printed using various different technologies, as I mentioned earlier in the video. And there's our icebreaker there. So these would need to be sanded down, and then they're going to be, we'd add some paint and things like that. And same with the fuselage. Please excuse the barking dogs upstairs. Can never get some long bits of peace and quiet here. So same things here. You know, these pieces are going to be broken off here. We're going to sand this down to smooth out those lines. And then what we'll do is you would paint it and then glue it up and things like that. And then what we need to do is get some stickers and tape and things like that to make it look more realistic, just like the actual model that we have that's already complete. The nice thing is, by having the design here where those pieces are cut out, the other pieces will just slide in. And I'm not sure if this is the right one. It is. So what we would do is we want to make sure that we've got that sanded enough that these pieces then click together. So when we add our adhesive, they're nice and centered and everything. So what I would probably do is get these glued together and then sand to make sure that these joints are nice and smooth also before we add our paint and our other parts. There's our holes here. I don't know if you can see them. There we go. There's holes there, which I assume for the cradle pieces here. You can see how those little nubs there would snap into place. We'd clean all this up. So we'll do that in some separate videos, but here is what you get out of the box. And when it's all said and done, it's gonna look like this. So we've got some work to do. We're gonna add that to, like I said, another video that we will be doing here on the channel. But for now, let's get back to the actual model here and get it running around the layout.
slides out.
All right, so again, you can pick this kit up for $165 and you can get it from Printed at Scale. And I'll have a link to all the information in the description of this video. This model is absolutely amazing. As I did mention, it does require a lot of space on your layout. There is some overhang and things like that. But even as a shelf queen, this thing just looks phenomenal. And it's a great way to get into some really unique pieces of rolling stock to add to your collection. So if it's something that you're interested in, check that out. Check out the link in the description of my video. And you got a chance earlier to see what the kit comes with before it's even painted and finished. So hopefully that provides you with a little bit more information of what you're getting yourself into when you purchase this. But it is certainly a great way to get into building models, and I think it adds a little bit more to your collection when it's something that you've invested your time into to really make unique and make yours. It's not just something that you purchased off the shelf at the hobby shop. So it does take time and investment, but like I said, it is just absolutely phenomenal. I look forward to getting my model here constructed and painted, and we'll post some videos of that process. So that way, if someone on here watches this, does end up purchasing this kit, it can be a video that is a guide to help you assemble your own. And so with that, thanks again for watching, everyone. Really appreciate it. Please like and share the video. We really appreciate all of your feedback as we continue to grow the channel and create and produce more content for the hobby. So thanks again. Take care.